Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to dive into naked running. Now, before you think of something wild and in the buff, no, I'm not talking about taking off all your clothes and heading out the door for a run. I'm talking about running without a fitness tracker like this. I'm returning to naked running for many reasons. Some of them health reasons, some of them mental health reasons. But today I'm going to share with you why you might want to reconsider using a tracking device, GPS, Garmin, Coros, Apple Watch, or a Fitbit for all your training. Let's start with a surprising health risk. Recently, researchers at Notre Dame University, and I'll put the link down below, found that many popular fitness tracking devices, such as Apple Watches and Fitbits, contained really high levels of PFAS. These are forever plastics. Even worse, when you sweat, they get absorbed into your skin much faster. So there have been concerns raised about, are these fitness trackers actually healthy for us to wear? Which is kind of ironic because you're wearing it to get in better health and, see how your fitness levels are and track your mileage and things like that. The studies revealed that elevated risks associated with forever plastics being absorbed into your body include increased risk of certain cancers, hormones being disrupted, and even an increased chance of autoimmune diseases. So I guess it just really made me rethink whether I even wanted to wear, a fitness wearable at all, and kind of do a cost-benefit analysis on what are the actual risks, what are the benefits, are they even worth it? Now, this doesn't mean that you have to ditch your fitness wearable altogether. I just want to present some of the risks associated with it and this study, which again, I'll link below in the comments so you can read it for yourself. But I also want to talk about some of the benefits of running naked. So now let's talk about the good stuff. One of the main reasons I'm returning to naked running is because of how connected we are in the digital era. Like, it just feels, unless you go on a vacation or go off grid, that there's always social media apps buzzing on our phones and advertisements bombarding our brains. And I run and train in part to kind of escape that. So wearing a Garmin all the time or a Fitbit all the time kind of erodes my relationship in a way with nature and getting out here, this beautiful world, to kind of disconnect from all the digital stuff. There are so many studies about screen time in kids. I'm a mom and I really limit my son's screen time and internet access. And it got me thinking, why am I connected to anything when I'm out in nature? I'm doing it because I want a sense of freedom and joy. And having started as a naked runner and then became what I would call data addicted in the hopes of becoming a faster, more efficient triathlete and runner, I kind of lost some of that joy. I don't know, have you ever felt that way? Just you just want to disconnect from the world and get out into nature, and you don't need to post it on Strava. You don't need anyone to know where you are. You're just doing it for the joy of doing it. If that's you, I'm with you. And that's exactly why I wanted to explore naked running again. It just makes me happy. This brings me to the next topic associated with naked running. If it's not on Strava, did it actually happen at all? Those of you who upload all your workouts to Strava or have it synced to your wearable, you're probably like, oh no, I can't do without my Strava. I don't know. I quit Strava a couple years ago because, in part, I'm a woman and for safety reasons, even if I only set it to allow friends to see where I was training outside, I didn't want everybody knowing my routes. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but as a woman, if I'm going to be out training outside in nature by myself, I don't want everybody knowing where I am or any predictable routes, because we've just had way too many unfortunate cases of violence against women while they're training outside. And so safety is a big thing. Also, have you ever heard the term comparison is the thief of joy? Did I say that right? Either way, I find that Strava also has a lot of people comparing themselves to others, looking at their workouts, thinking, oh, they're faster than me, their heart rate is lower, look how far they went. I wanted to get away from all that. Like, I'm not going to the Olympics, you know? I mean, I want to do well in triathlon and running, but a huge reason I do it is just because it makes me happy, and it reduces my stress. It's kind of like a form of moving meditation. And if I'm constantly on Strava comparing my workouts to others, it kind of leaves me with a bad taste in my mouth, and it's not really the why behind why I'm doing it. I'm curious to know, do you ever feel like Strava is more negative, more positive? Does it motivate you or does it demotivate you? Let me know in the comments below. If I don't have a Garmin or an Apple or a Fitbit to tell me how many miles I'm doing, what my heart rate is like, if I don't get all this really important data, how in the world am I going to optimize my training and do a good job? I'm kind of glad you asked. As I mentioned earlier in this video, when I started out running and in triathlon, I was a naked trainer. I didn't have anything fancy to go on. I just went on intuition and how my body felt. And I remember thinking like, wow, all these seasoned athletes just have all these amazing devices. I need to get one of those. But at the time I really couldn't afford it. I just couldn't justify it and I had to make do. But here's the funny thing. The first year I was in triathlon was really the only naked triathlon season I had. And it was my best season. All my fastest times in every type of triathlon I did. I qualified for Olympic distance nationals and I had no idea how fast I was going. I didn't know what my heart rate was. I had a basic bike computer, but that was it. Like, I had no idea what I was doing and I just did it completely based on intuition. If you're more interested in intuitive training, I highly recommend one of my favorites, which is Born to Run. It's a wonderful book or audio book. And there's another book called The Art of Running by Feel, which I will link both of those in the comments below. But think about it, like, what did athletes do before all these wearables came out? All these previous greats in triathlon and running and cycling and swimming. Another actually really good movie to watch if you need a little inspiration for swimming, which is my Achilles heel, is it's based on a book called The Young Woman in the Sea, and it's about the first woman who swam the English Channel. It is so inspiring and I've watched it a few times. I have not read the book, but I have watched the movie and it's absolutely fantastic. And you know that she was definitely not wearing a Garmin or a Fitbit, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it just shows that serious distances can be covered without a device. So we've talked about some considerations regarding why you might want to try naked running or naked training, but let's talk about some solutions. So if you're not going to use a tracker for running or training, how can you know your mileage, right? So let's start with running. One of my favorite things to do is just get in the car and map it out. So if you want to map out like even just a 2-mile loop near your house or wherever you run, drive it in the car, note the start and the stop points, and there you go, that's your running route. If you map a 2-mile route, well then run it 3 times, you got yourself 6 miles. You can also just wear like a very basic watch or use a stopwatch. If you run with your phone, you can use the stopwatch on your phone. So if you know it's 2 miles and you know it took you 20 minutes to get there, you've got yourself a 10-minute mile, my friend. You can absolutely do the same thing for cycling. You can just drive your car and map out a route, and there you go. Go cycle it. The other thing that you can do is use, a Garmin bike tracker. They have wonderful like bike computers that will calculate how fast you're going, what the elevation is, how long you've gone, etc. The nice thing about that is it's mounted on your bike and it's not up against your skin like a fitness tracker is. And also, you're not like overly obsessed with it, right? Like you can glance down when you look at your handlebars and see your progress or see important metrics, but it's not attached to your wrist where you're constantly checking it, right? Next up, we have the penny jar method for swimming. So if you're doing laps in an indoor pool, this will work really, really well. Get yourself a jar of, 50 pennies, if you can find them, or beads or something small, coins, whatever. And what you're gonna do is every time you do an up and back, so if it's a 25-meter pool, you're gonna put 1 penny in the jar every time you complete 2 laps. So that's 50 meters. At the end, you can literally multiply the number of pennies you have in the jar times 50, and there's your distance, whether it's meters or yards. You can also use a stopwatch. So if you're doing, 100-meter segments, you can do the same, like do the pennies or do it all, you can break that into 100. So if you don't want to stop at a 50, stop at 100. Look at your watch, right? So if it takes you 25 seconds to do 100, there you go. There's your data, and it's not attached to your wrist. I know the proponents of heart rate training will be very upset at these recommendations. And that's fine. I think that heart rate training absolutely has a place, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But I do think it's really important to listen to your body. So, if your body says it's time to have a rest day, have a rest day. Your body will tell you, especially if you're training a lot. This will prevent overtraining. And when you've had a hard workout, when you've had an easy workout. So if you've ever done heart rate training before, or you've really used a wearable for a long time, you probably already know how your body feels when you're doing an easy run. And you know how your body feels if you're doing speed work. So make it a habit maybe to, cut out your wearable for 30 days. Go entirely on feel. Keep a journal and log all your workouts and how you feel. For those of you who don't want to part with your wearable trackers, consider just making a switch to a nylon or a silicone band. So I know I just switched to a Coros watch, and when you order it, if you order it online, you have the option to choose a silicone or nylon band. I believe all of Garmin's are already silicone, but I know that there are other options out there. And when in doubt, just ask. Call the manufacturer and ask, because it is better to have something that is not releasing tons of forever plastics into your skin. So in summary, naked running and naked training is really about reconnecting with yourself, reconnecting with nature and the world around you, and just the simple joy of moving your body without being connected 24/7. What do you think about this? Are you going to give naked running or naked training a try? Let me know in the comments if you'd be up to something like this, how you feel about Strava, and what wearables you love and don't love. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your training and rock on!